Because Samaras, boss at Redbridge, always got the excellent insights about politics. I love that he gets right into the details, and I mean right into the details. And it doesn't matter if it's a week after or a week before the election, he is up to his arms in that information. He joins us right now. Cos, lovely to see you. The headline on a piece of analysis that comes with the Financial Review tomorrow. Philip Curry as well here. 1 in 4 Gen X men are backing in One Nation. This is literally my age group. This is my mates group chat. This is a whole bunch of blokes in their 40s and early 50s, and it feels, in my view, they've made their break and they aren't going back to anyone because this is their way of lobbing a wrench at the system.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it, Paul. I mean, they're also my mates, right? And I've grown up with them, and I'm a Gen Xer, and I grew up in a Labor family, but a lot of my friends that I was growing up left Labor in their 20s, started voting Liberal, mainly because of the recession, particularly in Victoria, but right across the entire country. It wasn't huge numbers, but enough, particularly in manufacturing communities, right? Timber communities, communities where basically you have to use your hands to earn a living. And these men have been with the Libs for some time, and they've jumped. And they've jumped because they've given up hope that the Liberal Party is actually there to represent them economically.
So let's be clear, Gen X is what, 45 to 60? Is that generally it?
Yeah, 45 to about 60 years of age, probably 58, but, give or take, yeah.
Yeah, give or, well, hey, a rounding error could end up with a false impression. We do not want a rounding error. This is what... Now, when you end up talking to these blokes, now, again, we know that the profile of people over the age of 55 and about many of the cultural issues that will pull them towards One Nation. But again, the conversations, and you've sort of spoken before about the journey these people have been on. Again, to me, part of this is the blokes that probably, they're pro-Trump, they're cheering on Farage, but they also just like something that feels a little bit old school, something that is a bit black and white in this sort of soft and mushy sort of grey area. What are people telling you in the focus groups about why they're making the moves?
Yeah, so these individuals, think about it, right? You come into the workforce in the 1990s, you've got a recession. If you survive that, you get hit by globalization. If you're in regional Australia, the GFC actually hit regional Australia. A lot of the talk about Australia dodged the GFC, not necessarily true. Right. If you were in manufacturing in regional Australia, you copped it. So they get hit with that. Then if you're in automotive, for example, the automotive industry, and particularly Adelaide and Melbourne, you get hit with that in 2013. There's wave after wave. Then, of course, the pandemic and so on and so on. Your whole life has been disrupted. And these men we talk to, they're in their 50s. They're either renting or they've got massive mortgages. They're largely in the outer suburbs and regions. And they're looking at their life ahead of them, and they're thinking, I think I'm running out of runway here. I've got 10 years, and I'll use my hands to earn a living, and I don't think I'm going to pay off the mortgage, or I don't think I'm going to own a home. And so they're pretty despondent. So I think you're right in your assessment. They're not coming back because, well, what are you going to offer a generation that's basically been buffeted by so many changes, and then suddenly there's nothing really left for them?
Yeah, 100%. But also, look, this is going to get me into trouble, but it's an observation that actually is policy-based. There's only one high-profile politician in Australia who talks about the family court, and that's Pauline Hanson. There is a dimension of blokes in their 50s that is a section of the community that is not discussed, right? It's the bloke who lived with his family and now doesn't for all of the different reasons, right? And all of the resets in life that come as a result. I'm not suggesting that, every Pauline Hanson voter has some sort of immediate connection to being screwed over by the family court. But once you start to look at what drives people, once you start to go, well, okay, 18 to 24, the future and climate change, bunch of blokes in their 50s have had relationships and families and had to start again, and all of the adjudications that go into that. Again, polite society won't talk about it, but I think it's going to be part of this here because she has been relentlessly focused on evening up, as she sees it, the family court. Am I off with the fairies?
There is a subset of that group, yes. There's a subset, right? It's not the entirety of that group, but there is a group of those particular individuals that, yes, fit into that category. And for right or wrong reasons, they could be the main reason they got divorced, right? They feel like they've been victimised by the system. But look, overall, excluding those individuals, again, it's the overall problem the Liberal Party has. And that is these individuals have been with them for a good 20, 30 years.
Correct.
And they've been pretty loyal. And they've just given up. I think May the 3rd was a bit of a shock to them. They probably thought to themselves, well, and it wasn't the result. It was the actual state of the campaign.
100%.
Right? And it was what the campaign offered them economically, which was nothing. Right? And so that's what really stuck the nail in the coffin there for these particular votes for the Liberal Party.
Well, also, I'm fascinated, if I can give you some homework or just an idea on the telly, right? Which is that, let's deal with the reality here, that there's a whole bunch of people between, say, 45, 55, where the blokes are heading towards One Nation and the women are heading towards the Teals. Talk about a fracturing that's happening here where, okay, their preferences and eventually the lesser of two evils, and that's how you get sort of 90 to 40 seats and rah. But we are talking about very different worldviews and how this plays out at home and whether people do or don't talk about politics, or what I think is more likely is that there are group chats where people are way more honest with their friends about how they feel as opposed to what they're willing to tell people. I think there's some soil to be dug there, mate.
Yeah, look, I had a bit of a inside running on what I thought was the cause of this hemorrhaging for the Liberal Party to One Nation, because a lot of them are my friends, my personal friends. And I could see them on social media, and I've been watching them for years. So they've been in this space for years. They've been losing. They started to share One Nation material. They started to basically, on social media, they started to get into that space. They started to show a lot more anger and frustration about the world around them. And I thought, when I saw that move, I knew it was coming. I thought, let me go and see. Let's go and see what the data tells us. And it was no surprise to us when we pulled the data out of the box that's the story it was telling.
Well, it is a fascinating story. And again, I think it is, nothing permanent, but certainly in terms of this 3-year phase, I think there's a big break and it has already happened, and that they aren't going back for whatever reason, but certainly they're not going back. Cos, thank you so much. You've been amazing to us this year. I've certainly taken the piss when it comes to the friendship, but I very much appreciate how often you've been here for us. He's the best in the biz, isn't he? With Redbridge, all the best to you and your family for Christmas, mate.
Thank you,
all right.
mate.